Hello everyone, Caleb Simpson here, and you're watching my walkthrough for The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D Master Quest for Nintendo 3DS. In this video we're going to be tackling Ganon's Castle, which is the final video of the entire walkthrough. Now, so what you want to do is walk towards these partially uncovered stairs and move forward just directly from there, which is right in front of the entrance of the castle, and this will create a bridge made completely of Skittles. Now, they did update the color scheme in this, and they also gave the bridge guardrails, which is pretty cool. You can only do this, by the way, once you have collected all of the medallions. You get the light medallion and once you get the Master Sword, but otherwise the other 5 remaining medallions you can only get by completing each of the elemental dungeons as an adult. So now that we have all 6 of the medallions, you can create this mystical bridge, which is right above a bunch of magenta-colored lava, I guess. It used to be red in 64, but then they changed it to this weird pinkish color, which I think is very strange. I don't remember this whole thing being colored like this. I think it was just white before, right? In the 64 version, but they added all these colors for the remake, which is cool. And then also the bridge actually has guardrails, which is nice, because we used to be able to just walk off the edge and kill ourselves for no reason. But much safer, very safe, except for the edges are totally not safe once you get across. But anyways, in this first hallway, we need to kill all the enemies here, so you can sneak past these blue bubbles, but you might as well kill them because we're going to have to kill them at some point anyway. I highly recommend you just use the long shot to stun them, and then you can just take them out with your sword. This way, regardless of what their current status is, you'll kill them. Now, to kill the Armos, you can use regular overhead strikes, which is just by attacking while moving, and then otherwise, in fact, I'm going to get this real quick. I don't know how many bombs I have. Otherwise, you can also use jump attacks if you're worried about it, because they're just kind of tall. Then what I like to do is I go to the opposite side, and just because that way I'm not going to get hurt by that explosion. Okay, activate the Iron Knuckle. Oh, I did not get out of there in time. Okay, now once you get rid of the armor, something I wanted to show is you can't just keep stabbing them, and then they can't do anything, so just button mash. So you just win. But it's only after their armor's off. I was a little bit too risky there earlier because I was trying to get out multiple attacks every single phase. It's very risky. Alright, so here in the central room. Now we can go to each one of these elemental doorways in a variety of different orders, but I highly recommend you go to Spirit first. There's 2 reasons for this. We can get a small key in there, which we're going to need for the light seal, but we're also going to need to go here in order to get the golden gauntlets. Well, yeah, I guess you need it for the light seal regardless. This needs to be one of the first ones you go to. I'd highly recommend you do this one before all of the others. In this room, you want to make sure you kill all of the enemies, and this will, just to make it a little bit safer for us. Now what we need to do is hit this rusty switch that is in between these thrones. In order to do so, you need to shoot this ice switch that is on the wall, right above the doorway. And this will make an enemy appear. Now unfortunately, if you mess this up, you are going to have to exit the area and re-enter. Can I shoot through this, by the way? No, just falls through the floor for whatever reason. Usually when they do that, there's a box. Oh, alright, so don't kill it. So activate it and then lure it over to the thrones. And all we need to do is actually just break this. Oh, wow, yeah. I don't want to fight you. Okay, so once you've gotten that, you can kill it if you want to. Then go ahead and go through the next door. And in this room, there's this switch that's across the way. Before, this was on the floor, and you could just line yourself up here, and then go ahead and use a bomb tube. But unfortunately, it's on the ceiling, so if you use a bomb tube now, I'll just show it, I guess. It goes way too far, and it doesn't work in time. Oh, maybe it does. Never mind. Anyways, what I was going to say, I think it's a lot easier to just turn around. I think part of the reason for this is it's less of a distance, so it's less chance for the bomb tube to go all weird. So I thought that was the only way you could do it, but apparently I was mistaken. I think you don't have to kill all the enemies. This Gibdo will... Oh, stop. Apparently it can still hit me. This Gibdo can stun you, so what I recommend you do is just use the Sun Song if you want to, but otherwise long shot works just fine. Now these Redeads, I believe they can't scream at you and freeze you, so I think you can just... Maybe it's because they're in sunlight? I don't know. These ones never stun me, so you can just attack these ones directly. Kind of funny. Those are the only ones I know of in the game. Well, I guess the Castle Town, Market Square, or whatever does that too. Okay, so once they're defeated, now we're going to need to use the... Oh, that's right. We're going to have to burn this first. You can either use Din's Fire or Fire Arrows. and burn the cobwebs above. And then after that, we need to activate the sun faces. The one that you want is in between the two doorways. This will create a large chest with the golden gauntlets, which is what we came here for, but we also need to get a small key here. Now, the correct sun face for that is just directly across on the opposite way. But basically, all you really need to know is that all the important sun faces are all the diagonal ones. So I'll show all those real quick. So get the one between the two doorways, that's the golden gauntlets. The one across the way is a small key, which we're going to need in the light doorway. And otherwise, the other two directions have recovery hearts, which is kind of worthless. So those have chests. All the other ones are traps. I don't remember what they are. I think they make Lizalfos or something. But otherwise, there was one sun face that is right above the spirit symbol. You can see just the top edges of it, by the way, so that's a little clue. And also just the fact that there's one in all the corners. That's your hint. That's what you need to do. Get the recovery hearts if you want to. I'm not worried about it. And then go ahead and break the seal. Oh, yeah. Light show. Now at this point, I highly recommend you leave, because now that we have the golden gauntlets, we can go get the defense upgrade. You know, I feel like lifting with your legs is really important. I'm not really sure how the golden gauntlets help us with that. Like, I feel like your hands are probably the least important part of the whole lifting process. Yes, the return of boring poses. Great Fairy of Courage. In other words, the one that lets you just flail like a madman. I think at this point I just don't care, you know? By the way, I can totally go back and get another piece of heart from the Skulltula people, but I currently don't have any pieces of heart, so it wouldn't really get me very close to getting another heart container anyways, so I'm not going to bother. Alright, so at this point, we completed Spirit, and we want to end with Light, because you can get, all the other ones have small keys, basically. So, what you want to do is, what I'd recommend you do is just after getting Spirit, then just work your way clockwise and then end with Light. So it's a nice, simple way of just doing it to make sure you get all the things. So, starting with Forest, which is I think one of the harder ones, honestly. First of all, we have some Stalfos. This part's easy. What I recommend you do here is just stab. So stab a whole bunch. How you do this is you don't button mash it like crazy. Instead, you space it out. So you go like, get away from him. Stab, well, stab, 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 like that. And what happens is as soon as his defense is down, you just win. Like that. So that's my trick for defeating Stalfos. That works really good. Especially with the Begoran sword, but the Master Sword does it the exact same way. You know, let's go ahead and get that. We need arrows, why not? So next what you want to do is you want a hook shot or long shot to this torch, and then use the iron boots to get across. And at this point, you can take off the iron boots and you'll go flying after you get that small key, and go through this door. Okay, this is, I think, one of the hardest rooms in this entire dungeon. A little tip here for you, too, by the way, is you can go ahead and shoot these Beamos. Now, I haven't really shown this much in the walkthrough, but you can do this to stun them as well. So now we have that. I'm going to put this back on. Boop. Run across. Okay. You know what? I'm just going to let it hurt me. Oh, whatever. It did not break it. Whatever, I'm just gonna let myself get hurt. Okay. Anyways, it stresses me out when they're, like, shooting at me while I'm standing here, but I stunned it first with the arrows. Okay, now our trick is... the trick here is we want to make sure we kill all the enemies. Just walk through here very slowly. You just want to be, like, super, super cautious in this room, because if you fall down into the abyss, you have to start the whole room all over again, including killing all the enemies. So annoying. You can just kind of ignore them, too, but, it's a pain. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and get these bombs to replenish, in case I fall down. Hopefully I don't, but... Okay. By the way, something else you can do real quick. Now that we've used all the bombs, whatever, done all the things. You can also shoot this eye switch that is inside the fan at the beginning. What this does is it creates a chest back at the beginning that you can use to just long shot back, I guess. I forget what it even has. Maybe it has bombs or arrows, something that's not important. Anyway, you can just ignore that for the most part. I don't remember what this one has. I think this one's not important. Yeah, it's more of the same kind of thing. Okay, what you want to do here is, unfortunately, we need to stand on this little platform and then and then play the Song of Time. So what we want to do is wait for this fan to totally stop. Put on the iron boots, and now while standing here, play the Song of Time. What it does is it swaps these two time blocks, which then moves a box down, I believe. And I'll just play it again. Okay, so that puts that on top of the thingy. Now at this point, make sure you wait for this fan. You just be real slow with this room. Don't mess it up. Just be real careful. Work your way through it. Don't risk anything. Oh my gosh, stop. Okay, there we go. Probably the saddest thing in Ocarina of Time, I don't know, it's just like the ice arrows. There's no real use to them. They don't do anything. I wonder if they had some kind of functionality originally, or maybe they were working on the little ice platforms that they have in, whatever it's called, Majora's Mask in the Great Bay Temple, but then they just never actually implemented it in Ocarina of Time, or didn't have time to, or whatever. I don't know. It just seems like it's a miscellaneous thing that's left over. Or maybe you needed it. Like, in fact, that might not even be a bad idea as far as a possibility. Maybe you needed it inside the Fire Temple. Because that's how it was in, like, A Link to the Past, you know? Which until that, you know, you had Link's Awakening, but that didn't really introduce a lot of new mechanics for the most part. So Link to the Past was kind of like the more traditional Zelda game, I would say, before Ocarina of Time. You know, in fact, that could be an explanation for why the fire slugs in particular, like, they start out on fire, and then once you hit them, the fire goes out, and then they scurry away. Maybe it's because originally you had to hit them with ice arrows, but then they changed it so that you could just hit them with a Megaton Hammer to flip them, or whatever, instead. Kind of accomplished the same. Although the same thing, the fire goes out when you hit them. I don't know. Whatever. Regardless, I like it the way it is now, but maybe that could be a reason why they react that way. Okay, so what you want to do in this room is you kill the Freezards, and by the way, oops, when you do that, if they're far away, I highly recommend you use the long shot. Works really good on them. Just target them from afar and do that. Boop. So in this room, the deal is there's a hidden crystal switch that is behind this this dead hand, excuse me. So there's a dead hand that's sticking out of the floor, and there's a crystal switch, I believe it's in the wall. So you smack at the dead hand, and this will make a crystal switch get smacked. And then this will lower the geyser temporarily so you can get blue fire. You can also get rid of the red ice that's in front of the chest there. It just contains 20 rupees. I'm not sure what that even is. If it's always 20 rupees or it actually has an item, but I'm full on whatever it is. It always has 20 rupees for me, so I think this is worthless. Anyways, you want to get rid of this wall of red ice and then bring a blue fire through this locked door. So you need a small key for this. I got one in the spirit and one in forest, and now I'm moving on to water. This water barrier feels a little bit too solid to me. Yeah, I knew it. I knew you were going to try that. Okay, so what you want to do is, before you do anything, I highly recommend you melt this, because we need 2 bottles of blue fire in this room, but the red ice stays melted after you've done it. So I recommend you melt one of them and then go back to the previous room. I know this is kind of awkward. I just am lazy. I hate, like, emptying all my bottles and refilling them again. I don't know. I just rather just get the blue fire thing, get it over with. I mean, that's a little bit tedious, but so is refilling my bottles, so I don't know. Yeah. I know. Ignore them. Yeah, run. Here, I'll show what I was talking about. See how good that is? The initiation on that is great. Whatever. Anyways, I have a bottle of blue fire, so now we're finally ready to tackle this room for reals. So, kill all the enemies. There's a bunch of keys that are up above. Basically, there's one of each type of keys. There's an invisible one, a regular one, there's a fire, and an ice. Ah. Whew. Okay, so here's what you want to do. There's a silver rupee over here. In the corner, make sure you grab that before you put the block on top of it. Climb on top of these blocks. Don't actually push them for now. Hover boot across this. Get the one that's in the pit. This one over here you need to use the hover boots on, which is why I got it out. Also, we're slippery here anyway, so whatever. Go ahead and run across this. Whoop. Just make sure that you get this one before your final one. Otherwise, you'll have the cinematic of Link looking at the door and you'll fall into the pit and you'll start this room over again. So that's bad. Okay, so what you want to do here is... I think you do the far one first, yeah. So the one closest to the closed door. I'm going to push this one first, knock it into the hole, and then do the one closer to our entrance door. And again, before you push this block here, make sure you get the silver rupee that's in this alcove before you do that. That was underneath where this block currently is now. Just make sure you grab that first before you push this block in here. And then get the final silver rupee. So hopefully you should have a bottle of blue fire at this point, if you were following along with me, and that's why. Otherwise you'll have to go back to the previous room and you'll start this whole puzzle all over again, which is super annoying. You know, I guess maybe there is kind of a logic to having to, as the water barrier being ice, because Ganondorf freezed all the Zoras in Zora's Domain, right? One last hurrah for Zora's Domain. I guess logical from a lore perspective, maybe. That's what I was getting at. Again, continuing clockwise, going our way around. Alright, it's shadow time. Now what we want to do here is, first of all, you can kill this guy if you want to, if he's annoying you. Just because I don't like how Navi flies over all the time, and I feel like I always like to use the target to turn around. So I accidentally target enemies that are in my way, so it annoys me. Okay, so shoot the bomb arrow or the bomb flower with an arrow. This will make it explode and also causes a chest to appear for no reason. This has something worthless in it. Arrows? Yes. Anyway, so long shot to this, and then you need to use the Lens of Truth to see an invisible platform, and then use the hover boost to reach that. Now, to get the silver rupee in the corner, what you want to do is just stand over here in the corner of this platform. You'll get it pretty easily. Now, from this far corner, wait till it's a little bit closer, and then you can go across to the bomb flower platform, and then grab this silver rupee. Wait for it to start working its way back, and then go across again. I like to wait for another pass here. I'm going to stop using the lens just to save magic a little bit. Okay, here, two things. Let's put on the fire arrows, and also bombs. I guess the hover boost section. I think that's fine for now. This. That. I think this is fine. Okay. I think I can probably just throw it from here, huh? Oh, nope. It was close enough. Get the bombs. Yay! Now, before you move on, okay, there is a eye switch that is behind this platform, all sneaky-like. You want to shoot this with a regular arrow to make a chest appear. This contains a key. Basically, I think all of the elemental barriers, whatever, each one of them has a small key, and you can find it, and that's like the most hidden part of the whole thing. Now, I think you can't get that silver rupee. You know, I'm just going to try it. This might be risky. Let's just try it. See, when it's like that, you can see it's like hovering over the abyss. So that one freaks me out. I'm not sure if we have enough momentum to get that and land on the platform. I always like to save those hovering ones for last. Or, sorry. I like to make sure I, get this one and then go back right. And it looks like it's fine. Great. Whew. Just barely. Yes, Impa, stand at an awkward angle. I always thought these stages, it was just so weird. They're like 45-degree angle. Alright, and then continuing our circuit going clockwise. So be sure to put on the Goron tunic. But other than that, we're ready to go for this room. Now, the biggest tip I can give, this is, I think, the hardest room in Ganon's Castle. The biggest tip I can give for this is that you want to just be patient. So go over here to the top left corner, and this one is an elevator, and I'll take you up to get the silver rupee here. So just kind of watch out for this platform. I'm going to go ahead and wait for it to do its thing for a bit. Now I'm going to start going because it's moving towards me. Whew. Just be really careful. Just be patient with this whole thing, because if you have to start the room over again, it's awful. And if you have to start over, then you have to get all of these silver rupees again. Okay. So there I threw the bomb before I ever got on the platform, for example, just to... I was worried about the explosion hitting me and then falling back in the lava. So use the golden gauntlets, get the silver rupees underneath the obelisk, and now at this point what I recommend you do is get on top of this platform, because this one doesn't sink. And now from here, even though it's moving and it's awkward, you can long shot this target. Okay, now at this point, you want to head over to these fire slugs, and I was thinking, you know, since I was talking about it, I'm going to go ahead and use the ice arrows on them. I never use the ice arrows, but of course you can't even really get them till the end of the game. Yeah, it just stuns him for a while. Does hitting them break it, too, by the way? I'd have to test that. Is that what ice arrows do? Does it shatter it when you hit them with the sword, or does it stay frozen? I might have to test it with some enemies up ahead. Because if they stay... Maybe I'll switch to the Master Sword, too, just to guarantee I'm not doing too much damage. Because if that's a thing where they stay stunned for a long time and you can keep hitting them, that actually is pretty strong. Unfortunately, it probably does not work against, like, Iron Knuckles, for example. Things that have a lot of health. Yeah, it's kind of like the enemies that would really help with is, like, Stalfos and stuff, and I doubt that it works. I guess I'll find out. I don't know. Okay, this is the last one. This one's pretty tricky. The biggest thing, my biggest tip I would give you is go to this platform. This one is an elevator. The other two sink. So get on this one, wait for it. And then you can jump off this thing when it's a little bit lower, too. Oh, no. So what you can do here is you can wait for this to drop down a little bit to get a little closer. Make sure you move far enough, ideally using the hover boots. And get this. If you're at a weird position here too, by the way, you can backflip to get that silver rupee. Anyways, once you finally have all the silver rupees, you can get to the target. I think this is the only barrier, I believe, that does, well, other than light, I guess, that doesn't have a small key. This is the part where Darunia complains that I didn't rescue any of the Gorons in the Fire Temple. He's like, thanks for stopping Ganon, but I hate you, brother. I'm taking my friendship back. Alright, so at this point you should have 2 small keys, so I think there's 3 total, so it was in Spirit, Water, and Shadow had small keys, and then Water takes 1 and Light takes 2. So now we're heading over to Light at long last, so you should have 2 small keys at this point if you got all the hidden small keys that were inside the other barriers. You know what? Let's do it smart. It's the only time you can do it, right? You got all this magic from all these bros too. Like, how much damage does this do, even? Oh. I don't think it does any more than anything else. Oh, what is going on? Huh. Was that because it was already, like, dead? He couldn't take any more damage, so I couldn't hit him? I think that was the deal. So thus it waited for the animation to end. Okay, so once you're done with all the stuff in here, kill all the enemies. Here, if you play Zelda's Lullaby, you don't have to. This just makes a chest appear that contains a heart. So do that if you want to. This, you just need to blow this guy up. I always feel like you should be able to use bomb shoes here, but you can't. Carefully get that. Okay, wait for this boulder. So all you have to do is just kill the Beamos. I recommend just a well-placed bomb. Just throw it at the right distance, and then you can kill it. And then use the targets on the ceiling, wait for the boulder, and then you can go through the locked door. So this will use all of our thingies. And by the way, I think this room, I think you can even see it. Yeah, so it's got this block in the way. What you need to do, they have an enemy over here just to give you, like, a clue. But the deal is there's a crystal switch that's inside the left one. So doing so removes this invisible, whatever, this fake ice block, whatever here, which allows us to get through here for the final part of the lecture. I feel like this one is, I mean, I guess it's funkier, but I don't think it's really all that harder compared to regular Ocarina of Time. This one's pretty similar. Then again, I don't know if it's really all about difficulty, really. It's just so much about, like, weird puzzles, I guess. So the puzzles are the funky part. Yes, more 45-degree angles. Doesn't look ominous at all. You know what? Actually, let's go down and fill up our bottles with fairies, right? So right below the main entrance, kill all the business scrubs. In fact, these guys actually hurt pretty bad. Maybe they don't hurt so bad anymore now that I have the defense enhancement, though. But anyways, they sell, like, bombs and arrows and a shield, stuff like that. Grab all those, and I think you can leave the dungeon and come back to make those all reappear if you use them all. So don't worry about it too much if that happens to you. Alright, so now we're stocked up and we're ready to partay into the jaws of death. I find this final part of Ganon's Tower a little bit sad, because honestly, everything is just pretty much the same as regular. I don't really know what they were thinking. I think they just got super lazy, but, it's just, like, so samey. I don't really know what the point was. I think they did the same thing with the Shadow Temple. Maybe it's just the fact that it's just so linear that they didn't, or maybe they just thought it wasn't worth their time, or I don't know. It just feels like they gave up at this point. All the enemy encounters are the exact same. So the only thing that makes it different in Master Quest is just the fact that everything does double damage. But then we have the defense upgraded at this point, so it brings it back down to regular Ocarina of Time levels, which isn't really that much of a challenge anyway, so I don't know, at least after you know the enemy patterns, it's not really that big of a problem. But I wish they had done some different things for some of these rooms. Like, for example, here, you know, you run forward on you come in here like, oh, the room's the exact same, and then a like falls from the ceiling right on top of you, and you're like, ah, you just weren't expecting it, you know? I think that'd be kind of fun. I mean, it's kind of dumb, it's just a jump scare, but at the same time, it'd be interesting just because you didn't expect it. So the first time, it'd be for the experience, you're like, oh, like, they got me, you know? Just because you weren't, like, yeah, they have your preconceived, like, expectations, and then they, like, played off it. So I think that kind of make Master Quest kind of fun. But anyways, otherwise, what I think this room, the potential for it, this one especially because it had simple enemies and otherwise it's pretty empty, would be what if you walk forward and there's like no enemies, or there's some enemies across the way like fire slugs or something. You're like, okay, fire slugs, what? And you walk forward and you immediately bonk into an invisible wall. Oh, and then you use the Lens of Truth and you see there's apparently those thin ice blocks, the really narrow ones, whatever, they're tall. Get a whole bunch of those and it makes a maze through here, and you have to like go around, probably not crystal switches to swap them, but like maybe floor switches where you step on them, and then it switches the walls back and forth, so then you're toggling them, and you have to keep going from, like, one to another. They had a lot of puzzles like that in A Link to the Past, but what if this room was like that, and you're like, oh, that's weird, and you have to do that a little bit to get through here when you're back here with Zelda, although she might bonk into them too, so I don't know how that works with the AI. And one thing I'm not sure about with these rooms is I don't know if it's the same room, or if it's a copy-paste and it's a different room, technically, as far as in the programming. I don't know if it's actually the same thing or not. Like, I realize they're using the same preset, but what I'm saying is, I don't know if this physical space is actually the same one that is taken up when you're actually coming back here to escape the tower later. So who knows? By the way, you'll notice that I have a new webcam, and I was getting kind of irritated with my old one for a long time because it was just so blurry and like it was kind of pink and stuff like that, but this one is like nice. It's like so crisp and stuff. In fact, I'll just show this real quick. But look how crisp this is, you know? And like you can see the individual arm hairs. I'm excited, can you tell? like look at this, you can see little hairs across the background. Like, what is that? This is... Oh yes, that's what everybody needed. Everybody needed to see my arm hairs in HD. This is peak entertainment right here. But also just this sexy beard. It's all crisp. Like it used to be just a blob. And same thing with these colors. Like this used to be just blah black, but now it's like it actually has definition. Or you can see different tones of black. And this shirt, it's not just white anymore. It's not a white blob. You can see all the folds and I'm excited. So I don't know. I'll still tinker with the settings. I might get it a little more fancy and stuff, but or so it looks a little bit crisper after I tinker with it more. But I'm excited for just my quickly tried to set it up yesterday. Turned out pretty good. I was too excited I couldn't not use it. So the last video of this walkthrough will have better webcam. Oh yeah, by the way, I need to be using other things, right? I feel like it's kind of awkward for Stalfos. See, like that. I mean, you try and use this, and you just get hit with it anyway. Yeah, you like that. The problem with using Deku Nuts is that it takes him a second to like sheath the sword and then throw it down. Well, maybe that doesn't seem too bad. I don't know. Whatever. Oh yeah, by the way, always make sure you grab this boss key. I forget. I swear. Like every time, I cannot remember to do this, and so I always get all the way up top to the boss door, and then I realize I don't have the key. I'm like, I come back down. I'm just too antsy. I'm like going through the motions in autopilot, and I go all the way to the end. By the way, next thing I wanted to talk about, this song. So, I've been playing piano for many years. I started when I was like 11 or 10 or something. I don't even know. But I was basically taking classical piano is what I started with. But that kind of changed after a while. But I played more by ear. Reading from sheet music is actually really hard for me. My brain just doesn't work that way. So like I'm more of an audible learner. And I have to just physically go there and just do it. But anyways, somebody can play a song for me and then I can play it back for them. So that's kind of where I excel. So classical music isn't really my cup of tea in general. So like I did start with very classical teaching and music theory and stuff, but then I eventually just kind of like gave up and just pursued my own thing because I found it boring and it was just too tedious for me. Because it felt like I learned significantly slower than other people for the reading sheet music. I can't read sheet music to save my life for the most part. It takes me months and months to learn a song, seriously. Anyways, that all being said, I learned to play lots of songs by ear, and especially video game music. Those are the ones that really interested me. So I've learned how to play a lot of different music, and I've also been playing at my church for many years too. I'm on the worship team, and so I've been doing that for a very long time, I think. Anyway, so since I've been doing that, they often ask me to play pretty songs while people are coming in and sitting down and everything, and like so, I play a lot of music, a lot of video game music, and sometimes I'm usually playing pretty stuff, lots of Final Fantasy songs. But I also play a lot of joke songs sometimes, occasionally, and then everybody laughs because I'm always the guy, they know. But anyways, so this is one of the songs I learned how to play because I have a keyboard. I found an organ. So what did you think the first thing it was I tried to do with it? So I just think it's funny, like learning this ominous music while people are coming in to the sanctuary. It's just so funny to me. But anyway, I don't know how many people actually recognize this song, but people laugh about it. But I don't think they realize these jars, by the way, they have arrows and magic, and you can get stock up on them. And the 3DS version, anyways, these replenish. So during the Ganondorf battle, you can hop down here and collect these. However, I think in the 64 version, they stay depleted. So if you gather these all, try to... Anyway, part of the reason I'm pointing that out is only slash as many jars as you need to refill if you're planning to do it before the battle starts. But otherwise, you should make sure you wait, because you should save them all for the actual battle in the 64 version, I believe. I might be misremembering that. I don't know. Alright, this wall is super cool. Like, I love these like color changing things. I realized that for the 3DS they decided to upgrade with LEDs. So what's going on here? By the way, I just find it kind of interesting that it is just... they stay in a position relative to you, so they're not moving, but they only move when you move. I find it a little bit sad that it's so far away, though. Maybe I wish there was one closer to us, or doing the Christmas light thing where it goes along. But yeah, super cool looking. These are the same walls that were in the Twinrova battle, though. This is like such a Chad moment right here, right? With Ganon. I don't know, Chad just to flex, whatever. He's flexing right now because he's playing the organ with no concern in the world that we're showing up. But yes, this would totally be me. You show up at church and this is what I'm playing to greet you as you get in the door. Not all the time though, just sometimes. But it makes me laugh. I'm always giddy, like thinking that maybe somebody's played Ocarina of Time and maybe they'd recognize what I'm doing. I try to do it infrequently so that I'm not overusing it or whatever. But yes, if you have a tattoo on your arm that's glowing like this, you should probably get that look deck. There you go, Navi, finally proving yourself useful. I always thought this scene was cool, because, like, we're doing the Triforce thing. The only thing that's weird about it, though, is that I think Wisdom's supposed to be in the bottom right, and then Power's at the top right, but otherwise, yeah, it's the same position, though. But it's cool, like, symbolic or whatever. Oh, never mind. She's not useful anymore. Can't, apparently Z-target for us, which was never really that useful in the beginning. Well, I don't know. Depends. I think for this fight, it doesn't really matter. I guess they're just trying to make sure that you can't, like, use the light arrows too soon. You can hop down and get more arrows and magic if you need to. Jump off the ledge if I keep going like this. Yeah, that's right, actually. Jump across. Okay, now I'm going to jump attack him. If I keep doing this, he's going to die. So I'm going to leave. So you can tell how damaged he is based on his cloak, too, by the way. How many rips and tears it has in it. I want him to use his other attack. Probably like 1 or 2 more jump attacks will kill him. Now at this point, you can just hit him like this. Let's get him one more time regular. There we go, run away. He's super close to dead. So that's one way to do it, is you can just... He's vulnerable while he's summoning that particular thing. And otherwise, you can also use a spin attack. I find this stressful because I think both of these attacks will darken up the screen. You gotta do it pretty early though. Just one thing, one word of warning. And otherwise, just make sure you're not standing in the middle when he wakes back up. Otherwise, he'll pound the ground and knock down more of the little squares on the edges. And in older versions of the game, he coughs up red, and then they changed it to green. I actually first started out with version 1.0, so I did have the original, and as a result, I did grow up, you know, playing with the blood, but then I played later versions and was surprised that they changed it. I guess it's just, like, not quite PG enough. Dude, stained glass is, like, very time-consuming. My grandpa he had all kinds of artistic hobbies, but he made stained glass too, and it's very time-consuming, so that seeing all the stained glass shatter is like a little bit painful for me, or like just knowing how much time is invested in all that. I think this is cool too, how he actually has physics for his cloak. In the old version, in 64, it would just like pass through his body, and it looked really stupid. It made Zelda look so much nicer. They really toned down her makeup. In the 64, she had like, I don't know, is it eyeshadow? Is that what they call it when it's up here? Whatever. But the pink that she had above her eye was like so ridiculously strong, or like exaggerated. I just thought it looked creepy in 64. But yeah, they made her look nice for this. She looks like she looks like she does in Brawl and stuff. So I guess I'm not really explaining much about Master Quest at this point. I'm just kind of nerding out over like that. Like, look at that. It's green. What? I'm just nerding out over 3DS stuff. Thanks, Grezzo. And no matter what version of the game I'm playing, I'm always going to walk the wrong... Yep, I'm going to walk the wrong direction no matter what. You know, getting this stuff falling on me stresses me out, not really because of taking damage, but because I'm wasting time. Like, Like Zelda's like, like, stop, just move, keep going, don't stop on account of me. Oh, it's blue. Why is each one different? But yeah, I think this whole area, like, what if the path, like, if it was a, you know, an ice block maze, an invisible ice block maze, then they could just make it the path be the same one that she's going to take when you get through here, and that'd be cool. You just follow her and you just are okay, but otherwise you gotta use the lens of truth. It gotta be funny. It's yellow. Oh, no. Oh, but by the way, what's that down there? Oh, there's the red one. Magenta. Whatever. So this is yellow. But then down there, is that, I think that's the graphic for water? The surface of water? Just have multiple of them just stacked on top of each other? Yeah, man. Stabs are the way to go. It's just so much faster. Like, I think the only reason that you'd use something else is just to get a setup going. Like, you do like this. You trick them into doing their jump attack. It's almost like you wait for them to go afterwards. Like that. And now you can perform a jump attack. Oof. So, like, I think that's the best way to use it against them. The deck nuts. The problem is when their shield is raised, they're invulnerable. I feel like we're going to do that, but otherwise, stabs are just so much faster. Like, you see me use it throughout this walkthrough. It's just so good. I take a little bit of damage, but sometimes, but not really. There's the magenta one. Wait, isn't that weird? Oh, never mind. I guess so. I guess it makes sense. We went through there, and then we go across to the opposite side, and now we're here. So I guess it works. We're actually, it's kind of weird because each one of these we're going backwards a little bit each time. So we're going like, and then through, and then like this, and then through, and then around. Yeah. Like, as opposed to just a linear stairs in a row is like what I mean by that. Dude, they made this look so much better. Were there always cracks in the floor like this, or was that something new? Like this gouge. Look at the gouge in this wall. Okay, this is totally not the same room. I was saying before it was like a copy-paste or whatever, or then I wasn't sure if it was the same room. I think it's not. Because this looks different. Or the wall does, anyways. Unless they replace just the graphic. I think it's a totally different area. Now for this, I always get stressed out by this guy. Oops. By this guy screaming at me. So I'm just gonna do that. I mean, how unusual, right? That I don't like people screaming at me. I like how I'm like in danger of dying just because I'm admiring everything, not because it's hard. Just like I mean, I always thought it was kind of weird that the thing was blowing up. I thought it was like his last-ditch effort to try and kill us or something. But then it all lands on top of him, right? It's all kind of weird. I also thought it was weird that he was able to build all this in such a short period of time. Or like, this looks like a lot of work. I don't think this is regular Hyrule Castle, right? It looks pretty different. I mean, the tower part especially, that didn't exist before. Is this a completely different building? He just replaced the other one? This is raised up in the air, too. Something I'd never considered before is what if this was like... he created this with the Triforce of Power. I just always assumed that he sicked a bunch of Stalfos and Iron Knuckles on it or whatever. Or the people of Hyrule, you know, forced them into slavery and then just made them do it and then turned them all into Redeads and Gibdos. Well, actually, what if all those Gibdos were the construction workers, you know? Turned them all undead and then made them... whip things around. It's kind of morbid. This little undead army doing construction projects for him. The Triforce of Construction. Yeah, man. Zelda looks so much better. Oh, no! One thing I always found weird about Zelda 2, by the way, is I always just found it irritating that, like, they make her all like, ah! And, like, she's supposed to be a tomboy and everything like that, and she was like a, you know, totally capable ninja girl until just a second ago, and she threw on a dress, and now she's, like, overly girly or whatever. I don't know. I want her to be capable and everything. I don't like the way they portrayed her here. Or, like, it's super inconsistent. And I have the same problem, pet peeve with Wind Waker. Like why, when she was Tetra mode, she was like, you know, wink. And then suddenly she's just like, ah. Well, kind of. I mean, she's not really super like that, I guess. But still, you know what? I'm not feeling like switching back to the Goron Sword. Let's, after he knocks us away, let's just use all kinds of weird items. Let's do all the weird things. I'm gonna use nuts to hit him right in the soft bits. Yeah, Z-targeting works again, but unfortunately I'm not going to use it. Because the most OP way to get through this is just to roll between his legs and smack him. Oh, right, I don't have a sword. Okay, Deku Nuts. Can I troll him, like, real hard? Just turn with him. I've never done this before. Seems to be working pretty good. Just see, because I'm on this side of his tail, he's going to keep rotating this way. So I already know which way he's gonna go. As soon as he starts attacking, I just follow him. By the way, in case you didn't know this, you do have to use the Master Sword. I'm actually not sure how much damage other things do versus the Master Sword, like, at this point. Because I know some people, though, told me that they just keep hitting him with the Goron Sword and it doesn't work. So I think you have to use the Master Sword to do some. Yeah, it's like too risky. He rotates too fast once he's in second phase. So, light arrows, by the way, have the longest stun, and I think probably the best use of this is to do a jump attack on his tail. Because then you can guarantee that you can pull it off. It's kind of hard to do otherwise, because you just don't have enough time. None of the stuns last long enough, and rolling between his legs, you cannot turn around in time, Z-target it, and jump attack him. So, this would be the use, this would be what I would recommend for that. But still, rolling between his legs is by far the easiest thing, in my opinion. I have one nut left. It's too bad. I was planning to use all my nuts. Yes. Beam. Beam away, my princess. I grew up with Redman. I'm all about that. Ancient creators of high... Wait, is that the goddesses? I don't understand. Explain lore to me. I thought the scene was very pretty. Like, especially for 64, like, all these fancy camera angles. I like how they just, like... No holes, no bars, what? How that phrase goes. You know what I'm saying? They went all out for this scene. Kind of back in the 64 days, and I was like, oh, it's so cool. Just like some minor lighting changes and stuff too, but it's just cool. Like the whole credits is just really good. But all Zelda games have great credits, great songs. Curse you, Zelda. Yes. I will remember your name for all eternity, please do. You're just a Demise copycat, or vice versa. You know, something I've always wondered about is the reason that his seal weakens over time is because he has the Triforce of Power? Like, what I mean by that is not so much that he's using the Triforce of Power to come back, but that the Triforce wants to come back together. And so, as a result, that's why, like, fate will always bring these three characters together, because the Triforce wants to be reunited with itself, or whatever. So, it's kind of like, that's why we have to keep resealing him. But I'm not sure how you would separate him from it, though, right? I think we can't kill him by normal means, supposedly, huh? Another thought I had, too, during this playthrough, I'd never considered this before either. What if the whole reason why we have... I mean, I think that in interviews they said that originally part of the plan during Ocarina of Time was like, well, we were planning on having this whole multi-timeline thing going on, and then finally, eventually, they released the Hyrule story, and it talks about the past, future, and the fallen timeline or whatever. But what if... part of the reason why it was vague, and also why the timeline has kind of changed over time, and they've reorganized the games repeatedly through information Nintendo's released. What if the reason for that is because even back then, back in Ocarina of Time days, there were multiple staff members that had varying opinions about it. Like, that was kind of generally the thing with game development in general, so you have, like, a head honcho who's over top of everything, you know? And they have different people in different departments, and as long as they're not, like, super doing things that conflict with the overarching plan of the game, I guess, then they're free to just, you know, do whatever they want. And it's great, you know, you make some enemies, make some skeleton enemies, make some wolf enemies, whatever, and then they do, and they're like, great, everything's perfect, you know, whatever. So everybody has some creative license, so to speak. So I wonder if the lore got a little mixed up along the way because of that, because, like, you know, what they always hoped that the Ocarina of Time lore could have been eventually when they got to be able to release it. They're like, yeah, I'm going to do my theory now. And everyone else is like, what are you doing? And then they changed their mind. And that's why it actually got retconned, is just because they had multiple people on staff that had different opinions. So sadly, I think I'm actually going to skip the credits. I don't really have anything funny to say about it, but the problem is YouTube will, like, flag my video for copyright strikes, whatever, like crazy. So I'm just not going to include them. I can do it without any monetization, but if I'm going to do that, I'd rather do it as a completely separate video. So I'm just not going to. So, sorry. And there you have it, the Ocarina of Time 3D Master Quest walkthrough. Oh, yeah. What do you guys think of this particular style? I think that, like, this whole live commentary face cam thing, I think that this is probably really good for Master Quest in particular, because, like, everybody's already seen a lot of the stuff, so it doesn't matter. So having a more goofy playthrough that's all still showing all the stuff in detail, but just kind of making fun of stuff otherwise is kind of fun for something like this. I don't know if this is necessarily super appropriate for... or I don't know. I feel like I'm such a good walkthrough writer that me just making goofy videos is a little bit silly, kind of. But at the same time, it's kind of fun. As far as other Zelda games and stuff, or other games in general, I feel like if it was a more casual game, or, like, say, like Triforce Heroes, for example, is I think a prime example of where this kind of style would be more appropriate. Or doing like I don't know, doing like a multiplayer co-op Let's Play with some other YouTubers or something like that might be kind of fun. But, so I do it more like this kind of style where we're just goofing around. But otherwise, I think post-commentary is still the thing I want to focus on. But yeah, as always, you guys are amazing. Check out my other playlists. I do all kinds of stuff, walkthroughs, guides, etc. And you're all amazing. Thank you guys so much for watching. You have an amazing day, and I'll see you next time.